Well gone, people. Today I just wanted to show kind of some proof of concept stuff with the M8. I kind of wanted to talk about how I go about, or how you can go about doing like a full live set on the M8. Just using like 2 tracks, and you got tracks for effects and all kinds of stuff there. So basically, if you've ever used Ableton's, if you've ever done like a live set in Ableton's, it's not Session View, it's pretty much the same concept. It's where you kind of line up your stems on each of these tracks here. So track 1 and 2 will have like full songs on there, and then you kind of just go back and forth playing between them. They're all synced up because of the way the M8 operates. It's all kind of in sync, in time sync, so they're all like play and pause at the same time on a grid, unless you don't want that, which is possible. So that's basically kind of the setup that we got running today. For mixing, obviously there's no knobs or anything like that on the M8. You can technically do this with the touchscreen, but I know people don't like touching the touchscreen. So for the purposes of today, I've got my Digitakt 2 hooked up to my M8, just using the MIDI input on the M8. I've done this with, like, you can use an iPad, you can use a phone. There's like a bunch of free MIDI apps that will let you plug your phone into your M8 and do it that way. You can get, like, if you've got a USB-C iPhone or Android, you can just get a cheap adapter that goes USB-C to B, and you just plug it into the M8. And yeah, you can use it to you can map your MIDI, but we'll go through all of that, how I've got my MIDI mapped, how we set up tracks, how we mix, and then basically like the extras, like your effects lane here that I've got on 5. So it might be a bit of a long one, so bear with, man, in it. But this is still, I'm still hashing ideas out, and I'm still, you know, this is proof of concept. So basically what I've got set up on each of these 2 tracks here, 1 and 2, yeah, we might as well play some. Basically what I've got set up for today is I have a tune, a fully exported stem with the BPM on track 1 on instrument 00, right? And I have a bunch of FEs, so it just plays indefinitely. Let's just talk about track 1 first. So I've got my tune loaded up here, and then I've got it set to repeat BPM. And in this section here, if I move it, you can see it's on, at the bottom it says value 125 BPM. So basically what you'd want to do is export your song, make sure you got the BPM set or in the title somewhere, or you know it. Go down here to play mode, set it to repeat BPM, and then set the BPM to the BPM of the song. Pretty self-explanatory. Now what that does is that lets it, if I speed up, so the way this is set up, I don't know if Ableton works the same way when you do your sets like this, but the tempo, the project tempo is 128. So that means that unless I don't want it to, everything, all the tracks that I've got here are going to play at 128. What that also means is if I adjust the BPM of the project, if I slow it down or speed it up, all the tracks will stay in tempo, in sync. They won't stay in pitch because it doesn't have a full warp like Ableton, but they will stay in. It's kind of loud. It's kind of loud. They will stay in. They will stay in BPM, and they will be BPM synced. So basically, I've done that for each track. So track 2, we'll go over here. These would be like the first 2 songs of your set, right? And then I've got another song here, same thing. I've got a BPM in the title. It's just a fully exported song. And then I've got where it says BPM set, and then repeat BPM. The reason why it's repeat BPM is because if for some reason, whatever reason, you run out of FEs, or what am I trying to say? It gives you enough space to where if for some reason your song is short and it stops before the FEs finish, it will just automatically repeat. Now you can count the bars and do all that stuff, but I ain't got time to do that. I just put a bunch of FEs so the song just plays as long as I feel like it should play. and it gives me enough time to mix into the next song. And then what I've got over here on track 5 is, yeah, let me turn this up. Let me turn that down. Let's do it this way. I got some effects, like some vocal effects. You could load on these tracks, you could load whatever you want. I just got a couple on here. Yeah, basically. I got a couple of effects on there. They're just like vocal chops and sound effects, but you can load as many of these as you want. We'll go into how I've got those set up in a second. And then on track 6, I've got a vinyl crackle. Track 7, I've got like some hats that will make sense later. Track 8, I've got a kick that will also make sense later. So how does this work? Basically, what you'll want to do is, and I'll stop it now. On your M8, when you're in, you hit shift and left, and you'll go into the live mode. And then if you hit play, it will play whatever's on the track or on the chunk you've selected. On that side, that would be this song here. And then essentially what you would do is, when you're ready to go into your next track, you mix 1 into 2, and then you stop 2 and you go into 3, and then you go into 4. It sounds complicated, but it's simple in execution. So basically, as this is playing, you know, you can play your effects. So what I'm doing now, basically mixing the tracks. So all I did there basically was I played what was on track 1. Hold on, let me turn it up. Played whatever was on track 1. Then played whatever was on track 2. And used my Digitakt 2, which is mapped to the volume knobs, the EQ, and some delay and reverb, and just used it to mix essentially while they was both playing. So it's kind of similar if you've ever done a mix on Ableton, the live set, where you basically have like a controller and you have your songs arranged like in 2 tracks and you just turn on and off effects. Basically, that's essentially what I'm doing here to mix the 2 with some extra flavor with effects on top. Now what I've got mapped on my each track, so all I have is the Digitakt has 2 pages of 8 knobs, so 16 knobs. I'm only using 5 knobs per track. So if you have a controller with 10 knobs, you can do this. If you have an iPhone or iPad, you can do this. Basically what I've gone and done is I've mapped, maybe I can play it. I've mapped a knob to I've set the filter to low pass and high pass, kind of just emulating a DJ filter. So I've got a knob mapped to the low pass, and then I've got a knob mapped to the high pass, and then I've got one mapped to the delay, and then I've got one mapped to reverb. So those are essentially the four essentials that you need when you're cutting. Not when you're cutting, when you're mixing two tracks together. Essentially, a little bit of effects to blend stuff, a bit EQ to, you know, knock stuff out and put stuff in, like real bare bones simple. Now all the effects are coming from the M8. M8 has like a really nice delay in there, really nice reverb if you tweak it. I do have my M8 going into my analog heat, and that's also going into my Stymon Deco, just for some, you know, source on the end. But you don't need any of that. Essentially all you need is the M8, and that's kind of the point of this, is to really stress that this can all be done just with the M8. M8 and iPhone at minimum. And if you don't care about touching your screen, you could fuck around and do this with touching your screen. You can map these to, like, you can map, I did it before where I mapped the screen to your EQ of each track. You can't really match the levels, you can't really adjust the levels that way, because you need, you know, more. The M8 only has XY on the screen, so you need at least 3. But you can blend that way if you spend a bit of time with it. You can literally just use the M8 and the touchscreen. You don't have to use a controller. So that's basically how I've got it mapped. Hold on. And that's how I've got my track set up. For basically all you do is you make an instrument, set your track to it. Now I've got some of these on delay 03, and that's because to keep everything in sync. I think the way my Ableton exports songs is it cuts off a little bit at the beginning. I don't know why it does that, but that's just my thing. Maybe your thing is probably not fucked up like mine. So if your tunes just export like right on the dot, you might not have to do that. But if you find that when you're playing stuff together it's a bit off, even though it's the same like BPM synced, put a delay in and it will just lock it up perfectly. 6, I've just got like a vinyl crackle. It's just going. Basically the way I've done this is I've set it to play on a phrase, and then I've got a hop to go to 3. So it plays it down and then it just gets stuck here. Same with these vocal effects. These are just ones that I've sampled over time, and then when I hit play, I don't know if you can see it. That's it. It just plays once. I got some delay just set on those. You can put like reverb or whatever you want on their chorus or whatever. But these are just some ones that I sampled, and I just have them playing indefinitely basically. So every time I hit the play button on the M8, it's gonna trigger those. And the reason why I've done it this way is so that they're not BPM synced. So if I want to affect the play as soon as I hit the play button, it's gonna play. Whereas these two tracks 1 and 2, I don't want them to play as soon as I hit the play button. I want them to be in time and to be in sync for the mix, for the sake of the mix basically. So yeah, basically that being said, there's not much else to it. I've got a kick. Sorry, I got a kick and a hi-hat, just for, you know, some tracks that are like a bit bare bones, that it would benefit. What I've also done is I've sidechained all my tracks to this kick. So just for, you know, whatever, if I ever want to filter something out and just have a kick in there, I can do it that way. Just for the sake of, you know, just for the sake of doing it that way. And then yeah, that's basically it. So how do you play and pause shit? So on an M8, if you highlight something, you hover over something and you hit play, it'll play it. If you hit shift and play, so you see it's the little triangle, when you hit shift and play, it will stop it essentially. Now the timing on this can be a bit funny. In my experience, you have to you can't hit it on the beat. You gotta hit play like right before the next bar starts. So I'll see if I can demonstrate. Well, I mean, I was accidentally too on beat then, but that's basically how you want it. If you hit it a little late, your tracks will play a little late. You don't have to be, it's not like a rhythm game where you have to be like perfectly on time, but you just gotta know like at the top of the bar where the top of the bar is. You see that? That's a little early and it kind of fucked it up. Again, a little bit off, a little late. Perfect. So you just gotta do that basically. I don't know the secret to it. I don't know what kind of internal timing thing M8 has. Maybe it's because I have all the delays on my tracks that's making it weird with the timing. And there's no cue with this system because you're just one output, right? So you can't cue if your tracks are playing at the right time. What I do is be cheeky and I'll because I have my 2 volumes mapped. Just do old school. You just turn one track down, play it, listen close if you got the timing right. If you fucked it up, do it again, turn it down, and try again. It's it's an 8-track setup basically. So we don't have all the bells and whistles of modern controllers. But this is just like a super lightweight setup. Yeah. So yeah, let me demonstrate. Now, I can't show you what I'm doing physically over here because I don't feel like it. I don't have the camera technology to do that. But we can demonstrate a mix. Look cool. I think I got like 5 or 6 tracks in there, 7, 8, 9 tracks in there, just to like mess around with and show you proof of concept. So I'm gonna basically just run through it. This is not like super planned or anything. So if I fuck up, like nobody's gonna die. And then also like having shit in super sync is overrated anyway. Like fuck it. We're just playing songs. It's not we're not rocket scientists. But yeah, I'll run through, play a couple of tunes in there, just to kind of demonstrate the concept, and then yeah, basically talk about like how you might improve it in your setup. So all right, here we go. So you fucked up, but it's cool. Fucked up. Fucked up again. There we go.
He said people that you feeling alright out there, yeah? He said people that you feeling alright out there, yeah?
Basically, you get the point. Now there's a bunch of fuck ups in there, but again, nobody died. Like it's it's an M8 and essentially a couple knobs, So obviously you don't have the detail and kind of you can't get as intricate as you can with a fully fledged controller, but also a fully fledged controller can't fit in your fucking pocket. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of proof of concept for me. We'll just let this one run out. That's basically what you can do. Now, obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement. First of all, these are all my tunes, so if you had some tunes that weren't shitty like mine's, then you might have a better time mixing stuff. Secondly, you can really dial in the effects on the M8. I have a couple free spaces on my controller to assign. You could assign that to delay time, delay, feedback level. You can stretch the room level. You can do all kinds of techie stuff with it if you really want to get intricate with it. I personally like my effects like set and forget, so you just put whatever reverb sounds good on there, put whatever delay sounds good on there, and just run it for the whole set. Now your mileage will vary depending on like what type of music you're mixing. If you're mixing stuff that's 4 on the floor, like more house stuff, then obviously you're gonna have an easier time matching tempos. If you're not, you can still freak it. There's a couple ones in here. You just gotta find ways to blend, right? Same way as you did with Ableton. I've seen people do full sets of weird ass beats in Ableton, and it all be cohesive and flow good. So and this isn't limited to your own tunes. You can run any tunes through here as long as you've got the files. Just export them, have them BPM set, run them in there like this, and you can have like this can keep going for a while. How far does it go? And it goes to FE, I think. So you can keep this running for quite a bit. If you want more space to put a gazillion tracks in there, you could half time your shit. But now we're just getting into the weeds of shit. What I probably would improve, I'd organize it a little bit better. This was kind of just thrown together again as proof of concept. I didn't really think about set structure specifically. Obviously, if I was playing somewhere, I would have organized tracks in a better way. I would have put, you know, some tracks that aren't mine and whatever, blah blah blah, sprinkled it in. But the fact that you can do this, even in proof of concept, on a pocket-sized fucking, you know, battery-powered pocket-sized unit, with you can do this with any cheap controller. You can get one of them little cheap Temu ones with a bunch of knobs on there. You can do it with a Kaya MPD, the little MIDI keyboard with the knobs. You can do it with your phone. You can do it with anything that can plug up to the M8, as long as it has like MIDI out or it has USB. You can just run it into the M8 and do it that way. So this isn't like if you have an M8, you're probably already conscious about bringing a bunch of equipment. Obviously for today I use the Digitakt because that's what I have available, and it has a bunch of knobs that you can use as a controller. I have synths that I could use as knobs. You can, like, honestly, as long as you can MIDI sync it up. The M8 is really flexible with mapping. Again, you can use your phone. So yeah, it's again just proof of concept. You can do this. This is something that you can run a full. You could run a full set on. Obviously, I'm not no fucking DJ, and my tunes ain't DJ level. But you know, slap a couple tunes in there, and you can get a decent mix. The effects in here sound really nice, like the delays, and I'm yapping. It's like 40 minutes, but basically, yeah, that's my proof of concept. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, there's no special anything in this set. There's no like special template features or anything. It's just a bunch of tracks. So throw your tracks in, export your stems, and just run them. The reason why the FEs are different lengths is because some of the tunes that I have here are shorter, and they loop shorter. Some of them loop longer. You'll know the songs you want to play, and you'll know how to arrange it. The reason why I have a repeat of the 50 and the 54 down here is so that I don't have to scroll up, and every time I want to hit some effects, I have it down here too. You get me? So yeah, that's basically it. It's a long thing in terms of me talking and doing a long video, obviously, because there's a fucking 10-minute DJ set in the middle, but that's basically it. So yeah, throw your things in there. As always, if man's got questions in that, I'll be in Discord. The Dirtywave Discord, join up. Or you find me floating around, or put a comment on YouTube, and I'll probably see it. But yeah, you get me. That's it, pretty much. So yeah, one of them ones. You know what I'm saying?